Alright guys, welcome back again to another exciting one. So in the last tutorial, we were able to look at how to run our first code on Python. Or let's say for instance, I just close everything. You just want to close everything right now. Let's see if I really want to go back again. Then I would like to go back to my desktop. Okay, so just minimize all of these. Let me just minimize all of these. And from my desktop, you see that you will now see Python in there. Okay, let me see if I can see a bit. Okay, Python Basics is what exactly I'm looking for. Or it should be on my desktop anyways. Let's check it out. Python Basics. Okay, you can see this is it. Python Basics. So the moment I double click inside Python Basics, you'll notice that the entire code is there. So for me to go straight to the point, all I have to do is just to double click at the top right in there, and I'm just going to type CMD and I'll hit on enter. So the moment I do this, is going to give me something like this, like pop up, and I'm going to say Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notes. So the moment you do that, what you're going to experience is that this is going to open a new tab for you. Okay, so once this has been done, you have another tab already opening on your PC. All right, that's been loaded successfully. So okay, you can see this is it. All right, this is brilliant. All right, so this is actually going to go straight down into your project environment. All right, so then you can now double click on what you've been working on before. But if you look at it, it shows on title. So right now I'm tired of seeing on title as my, code name. So I need to change the name. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to this top environment. I'm going to double click. And from here, I'm just going to say Python Basics. All right, this is brilliant. Ensure that you did not change IPYNB. So this IPYNB means Jupyter Notebook, IP, Jupyter Notebook. So it should be left like that because you don't make any mistake by changing the name. Just in the name only, Python Basics. So this particular file is going to contain every single thing we need to know on Python. We're going to document the code. The code is going to be on our GitHub repository, so you can have access to it. Check whatever you've been writing. It's going to be like a notebook that you can really go through. Okay. All right. So we've done some basic thing right now. So let's start running our code. You can see that you have all of these like save plus something like looks like scissors, something like look like you're pasting something like look like you're copying, pasting, something that looks like play, something that looks like save. Stop, something like look like maybe let's say restart, something like look like restart kernel, and something like look like code. Don't worry about all this. We are going to be making use of it. I don't want to explain what everything really means, and later when we want to be using it, we're picking it again. It's really tiring. So when we get to the bridge, we're going to cross it. So now you can see this box. That is where we write our codes. You can see whatever codes we write, we're going to see the printout down in there. All right, that's brilliant. All right, so what I want to do is I want to talk about variables. All right, there's one thing I really want to tell you, right? Let me tell you a short story, okay? There is a guy that really wants to master coding, and if you really want to master coding, you need to understand the fact that you deal with one thing. Let me just break this thing down like what a layman can understand. You want to deal with data. So if you want to deal with data, that means that data should be stored somewhere, like let me say a container. So if you're dealing with millions of data, let's say data in millions, that means the data needs to be inside a container. So this container is regarded as the word variable. So that is number one. So if you are thinking about a variable, just know that a variable is a container that stores data. Brilliant. This is it. This is container that stores data. So if a variable is a container that stores data, so now how can we categorize our data? We have so many ways. Our data can be a text. It can probably be a number, which can either be decimal. We don't call it decimal, we call it float or real number. And it can be characters. Then it can be maybe something that is true or something that is not true. Let me say true. Or let me say true or false. And it can be anything. Let's say it can be text, it can be numbers, it can be character, it can be true or false, and so on. So then you understand that variable is a container that stores data, and categorizing data can be text, can be numbers, can be characters, can be true or false. So this true or false, another name give it to it is called Boolean. So don't really cram it. I'm just trying to break things down for you. So now, if you now understand that it can be text, now how can you store text? If you understand that it can be numbers, then how can you store numbers? And if you understand that it can be character, how can we store character? If you understand that it can be true or false, how can you store true or false? All right, it's pretty easy. So, but one thing I would like to explain to you is that variable storage needs to have a name. That means name of the variable. Let me say this is variable name. And if you want you to store anything, it has to be equals to. Let me say you have to say equals to with that thing, which is the value. So what I'm saying in excess is this. Let's say, for instance, I want to store probably my name. Equals to Fatai. So because this thing is a text, I will have to put it in a quote. That is rule number one. So if I want to store number, let me say my phone number. I can just say 23480222187. Though a phone number is always categorized as text. Now, but just leave it like this. Then what if I want to store probably amount I make per hour if I train people, my rate, let me say $14.7 per hour. I don't want to put per hour because this thing is a float because it is in decimal, and this thing is real number because it is not having decimal. And this one is text. So another name for text, I'm going to tell you. So if it is a character, let's say my initials. Oops. Let's say it's O, because this is just a character. All right. And then let's say, am I a female? Gender. Or what will I say? I want to say true or false. Maybe, am I a female? See underscore female. And I'll say false. This is a true or false. So what I want to look, what I want you to look at is look at the way I compose this thing. Normal variable can be text. So another name for text, which I would like to explain to you, we regard this as string. String. So text is also a string. Text is known as string. Don't overthink. We're going to write the code. So I just wanted to master all these things so that it's not going to be, it's really going to be easy for you to master. So if I want to store data, I'm going to store it inside variable. And if I want to store data inside variable, I need to know how to store it. So it's going to contain the variable name. Okay. And what is going to be in between the variable name is called equals to, including the value. So all this you're seeing, they're variable names. And this thing that is in front of it is the value. So why are we using variable in the first place? Basically, we're using variable so that we can store it and we use it whenever we need it. So we're not creating it all and all over again. All right, so without further ado, let's dive in. Mr. Variable. So I'm going to minimize this, which we're going to go back to it later. So I'm going to start creating node for us. So what we're going to do first is that I'm going to clear this because I'm going to say Mr. Variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type 2#. I'm going to click a space bar, and I'm going to hit enter. You might be wondering why I'm doing this, because I want to make this thing heading. So before I do that, let me just say Python basics, or let me just say Python basics first. I'm going to be explaining to you how to make things work, so that by the time you start getting used to it, it's not going to be like an headache. So Python basics. So because I use 2 hashtags space and I type Python, then I can come to code. Yeah, I click on Mac. So once you do this, it's going to give you a blue tag, and when you run it with play button, it's going to make it bigger. All right, that means it's the heading. So if I clicked it again and I hit on 3, or let me say 3 headings, and I say meet Mr. Variable. Let me just say meet Mr. Variable. So if I should do that, I come to code again, I come to Markdown, and I click on button. You can see it makes it very small. So what are the things we really want to learn in there? We were able to learn what is variable, how to create it, and why variable is useful. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to say lesson, or let me just, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4 space bar. I'm going to say lesson objectives. And then here I'm going to say, you know what, I want to learn what, I want to give it a markdown as well. I want to run it. You can see it's getting smaller. So this is what makes, what brings about creating what is known as notebook. So that by the time you're going through it, it's going to be pretty much easy. All right, so don't worry, I'm going to, give you all this access to all these files, so it's not going to be hard. So I'm going to say, you know what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to say, you know what, by the end of these short lessons, you will understand what it means to create a variable. And let me say code, markdown. I'm going to be putting a lot of things so that you're going to master it, okay? So one of the things I would like to explain is that I would like to talk about, I'm going to talk about this. I would like to talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just trying to, make you see how to collate things together. So let's see if we can run it and mark it. Let's see what it's going to give us. So you can see. You will be able to understand what variable really means. You'll be able to understand how to create it, and you'll be able to, understand why it is useful. So then what is variable? Like I said, variable is a container. So yeah, it's where you practically use to store things, and that's it. And how to create it, we've actually talked about it, and then why it is useful, we've done that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to probably copy and paste something that you can read through, so that is really going to be very easy to understand. All right, variable old value, let's say is a name that old value. So yeah, it's a name that old value. So I can double click it. What is variable? And I'll just put something in there. A variable is a name that old value. I'm just trying to let you know, and how to create variable. Use equals to assign value. Yep. And it's step to store and reuse data. That is the main reason. Okay. Brilliant. So I'm going to run this code again. So it's really easy. So let's run the code. All right. So what we did before is that we were able to look at probably my name, my phone number, my rate, my initials, and am I a female, which is no. So let's run this. All right. So if you want to do that, let's say my name. So I just put it like this. This is called, we're going to look at variables rules, how to name variables, but not now. It's really going to be something that we can talk about later, and we can really see it on the internet. I just want to go straight down into stuff. So I'm going to say, yeah, because it is a text which is regarded as a string, I need to put it in a quote. I'm going to say Fatai. All right. Ahmed. So this is my name. All right. So if you want to know whether your code works or not, you can run it. You can see it's not giving you any pressure. So then you can decide to look at what else. You can decide to look at phone number, rate, initials, and female. Let me say phone number is equals to 23480. Just put something. Yeah. You can see the way I'm typing I'm using something like a camel casing, like mixture of small number and small letter and capital letter. So let's say my rate, and I will say my rate is 14.7 per hour. So on the initial. Don't get bored because I understand that it might be overwhelming, but just follow along. The initial is O. So this is O, and then you see is it female, gender, and I say false. Then you can look at it. I was able to create this variable and I give it a value. This variable, I give it a value. This variable, I give it a value. So then I can run it. So if I run it, this is actually giving me something that is meaningful, and I can decide to print whatever things I need. This is when to use it. So if you want to print a variable, you can just call this instead of typing all of this inside. You can just copy this and just paste it inside print and see if it is going to display underneath. Let's run the code. You can see this display my name. If you want to display just this one alone, you can easily do that as well by copying and pasting it. Bravo, and run it. This is brilliant. And you can also use these again. Copy it and rate. Yeah, let's run it. This is brilliant. And you can use the initial. Copy it, paste it in there. So that is 0. And is it the female gender, true or false? Copy it, paste it. All right, let's go. So that is false. So basically what we're trying to do here is we're trying to let you know that variable is a container that stores value. We do that because we might want to use it in the future. So in as much as we want to use it in the future, we're not creating it again, we're just calling the name. And the third thing is that we are able to understand that if we want to assign value to our variable, we use the equal sign. All right, guys, this is where I'm actually going to stop for now. I don't want to complicate things by telling you too much of things, but trust me, this is how we're going to keep stacking our code and to be getting familiar with Python programming language. I don't want to tell you much about, rules. Just understand that anytime you want to write two words together, just ensure that you put it together. It's either you start with small letter and pick a capital letter at the next one, or just mix it together. Do not separate it. Write it together, but put a capital letter in between. All right, and anytime you are writing something that is, use all small letter out through. And anytime you want to write something too long, you can use underscore to fix it. Do not start with numbers. Yeah, and do not leave space. Those are the two rules I want you to master now. I don't want to give you too much of rules. What I mean by do not start with number, don't start with 2. You start with 6, and I copy this now and I paste it in there. I am literally going to have error. Imagine if I run this, you can see I see error because I started with 6. Do not start with numbers. And at the same time, do not leave space. Okay. All right. So those are the two things I will let you know for now, because I'm already making a very long video, which I really literally don't like. So all right, in the next tutorial, we are going to dive into something more awesome. Hopefully, maybe we are going to look at something really incredible. And until then, let's see. I'm looking at what we want to look at. We're going to start talking about numbers, strings. We're going to dive into all of these, so that's going to be much more easier, so that we'll know how to handle all these. All right, until then, see you in the next one.